Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the Managing Director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing Thai retirement visas and specifically the nature of the non-immigrant categorization of Thai retirement visas. I've had a lot of correspondence in the past few weeks, especially since the recent announcements with respect to rule changes, well, not rule changes, I should say, but law enforcement or enforcement mechanism changes, as well as evidentiary requirements which have changed with respect to the Thai retirement visa, most notably the discontinuation of issuance of the retirement visa, or I should say the income affidavit associated with the retirement visa, and the recent rule, I should say, commentary made by various immigration officers with respect to the fact that moving forward from 2019 onwards, it's going to be required that money in the bank be proven, financial assets be proven if seeking a retirement visa from abroad, or if in country using income, going ahead and using income of 65,000 baht per month and proving that up. Basically, at the end of the day, what it's resulting in is direct evidence, especially for retirement visa extensions, direct evidence of either the 800,000 baht for 2 months prior to the application date and 3 months following the application date, or 65,000 baht incoming in terms of income coming on a monthly basis into a Thai bank account. I've had some recent questions, mostly based on some videos I did here recently with respect to the fact that there seems to be a major policy shift, especially with respect to retirement visas, mostly because they're worried about retirees who can't afford to cover their medical expenses here in the kingdom, sort of becoming a drain on the resources in the kingdom, and those folks being foreigners and the kingdom having to deal with those resource drains. I've had questions, especially from not a few people, basically to the tune of, well, what happens if my medical expenses result in me going below the 800,000 baht threshold or the 400,000 baht year-long threshold? What happens then? Well, the long and the short of it is, it probably will result in maybe not a revocation of a retirement visa, and I'm doing another video on that specifically on this channel, so it's either come out before or slightly after this video, depending on when we put it up. So check out that video with respect to revocation of a Thai visa, with respect to deficiency of a bank account, specifically revocation of a Thai retirement visa. That being said, the point I'm trying to get at with this video is the nature of non-immigrant status. And quite plainly, within the nature of the word itself, a person in non-immigrant visa status is not an immigrant. They are not a landed immigrant. They're not a permanent resident. An immigrant is what's colloquially often referred to, in Thailand at least, as a Thai permanent resident status, Thai PR status. Those individuals are immigrants. They've immigrated into Thailand, and they have certain rights associated with their immigrant status. Namely, they can't sort of just have their immigrant status taken away without at least some minimal due process being undertaken. Moreover, they never need to go ahead and renew a visa. Now, in order to travel out of the country, there are certain requirements for permanent residents in the kingdom to go ahead and make sure that their status is preserved when traveling. But that being said, if one just is in permanent resident status and just remains in the kingdom forever, they don't really need to do anything to maintain their status once they've gotten that status sorted out. A non-immigrant visa, on the other hand, as the name implies, is not an immigrant. And that's the reason for renewals, generally speaking, an extension status on a yearly basis. And I know that this is something of bitter, medicine to take, but yeah, that's the nature of the status. And falling, being deficient in any of the requirements of one's non-immigrant status can result, probably not in revocation necessarily, but can result in a decision by a subsequent immigration officer not to renew or not to extend one's status after one has fallen below a certain threshold or has failed to meet an evidentiary requirement. So the thing to take away from this video is, although it's not something I really want to be discussing, because it is unfortunate. People get in unfortunate circumstances. They have health issues, they have family emergencies, they have financial problems that can result in their status being called into question. But the very nature of non-immigrant status is, as the name implies, non-immigrant. So basically one is simply given a visa, not exactly on an ad hoc basis, but definitely not for a permanent, unending duration of time. The thing to take away from this video also for younger folks is perhaps, and folks that maybe have a business here in the kingdom, if you've thought about permanent residence and you've sort of done a cost benefit and didn't feel like it was something you wanted to do, maybe rethink it. If you meet the requirements, especially for those who their long-term goal is to remain in Thailand through retirement and preferably, or I should say, and perhaps through the whole of the rest of their life, it might be a good idea to seriously consider PR while one is eligible, because once you're in PR status and you're considered an immigrant, that's a different story. That status can't just be pulled away, sort of, for lack of a better term, on a whim. And one's financial status and things of this nature are not necessarily going to have a detrimental impact on a PR in the same way that they would have on a retiree who's in Thailand on a retirement visa.